Hey man, how's it going today?
Doing great, my brother. Doing
Okay.
uh, amazing, actually, despite the circumstances. I don't know what the situation
Yeah.
is like there.
Yeah, well, I mean the situation, I think everybody we have one universal idea of what a lockdown means,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
But we have different geographical positions
Yeah.
in which that can be actually implemented.
Yeah.
You see, we have people back home, for instance,
Yeah.
that rely just on working there. We have an economy that is running on 500% unemployment,
Yeah.
and then we have people that are duly employed by themselves. You
Yeah.
see,
Mm.
so today, like for instance, I woke up and I saw this video, okay, of police in Zimbabwe,
Yeah.
and they had confiscated all of the food of the people that were going to the market because they were like, "Oh, go on lockdown," because when confiscating the food.
Yeah.
But the thing is, these are like women that grew us up too. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I was brought up by a mother who was a vendor,
Yeah.
and that's how she sent me to school.
Yeah.
So it was such a hard thing to watch, like to say, "Oh my God!" So what does the lockdown truly mean if we are in a situation where, like in Canada, like the the the, the employment rate is not like us,
Yeah.
and also what has happened is that the government actually, Justin Trudeau, announced measures to say if you for instance, if you are not paying rent, we're going to pay your rent for you,
Okay.
and electricity will be shut out.
Yeah.
Electricity is going to be for each and every citizen in the country,
So rent and
and
rates,
all
holidays, and so forth. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of surreal when you watch it back home when they are beating up everybody, and on top of that, they pick them up like sardines. After they pick them up like sardines. Like, how do you think it's gonna spread?
So the
You
crime,
pick them up like sardines.
the crime is that people are not social distancing.
Exactly.
But on your way
Yeah.
to arresting those people, you've got the police officers, 50 of them at the back of a big truck. Not social
For the back
distancing.
of the big truck. And not social distancing.
And then they
And
arrest
putting
people and then they put
picking
them in that
up like
same truck.
sardines.
Yeah, So
Exactly.
you get.
And pick them up like sardines. And is that social distancing?
Yeah.
At least we are trying it
Yeah.
here in Canada. We are trying it,
Yeah.
and it's been well implemented, and like I'm proud of most of my people because they've actually been spreading, like they give gloves to each other, they give face masks to each other, and everything.
But I suppose also that
And
is the differences with between these societies. First, in terms
yeah,
of what's
it's a
available.
societal. It's all about societal structures,
Yeah.
okay? Because I don't think that we were, because in the first place we started saying, "Oh, we are heat resistant. This thing won't catch us because it's heat resistant." And like
Yeah.
it's not heat resistant. So we were all just like peddling all of these theories about it.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, biologically, it is true because it dies after 10 feet of a cough.
Yeah.
It dies, and the heat actually kills it more.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it should not be. It should also not be a reason for complacency.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
see what I mean?
Yeah. I
Like if
I
you're
mean,
complacent only, yeah, then you can because we still have one casualty back home, right? But
yeah.
now in Windsor we got 3 casualties, and one of them was a police officer.
Okay.
And what allowed that to happen is because you remember when I told you that I'm like 5 minutes away from
From
the border.
Michigan, yeah.
Yeah. So now Michigan has such a highest order, and we have a lot of people that cross over who are nurses
Uh,
and doctors,
yes.
and they work in Michigan as nurses and doctors,
Yeah.
and they have to come back here. You
Yes.
see, so that's where the problem begins, because they have to come back and work in one of the hottest spots that's going on right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you have President Trump like basically ignoring the whole thing and acting like it's not even happening. But
Yeah.
Canada, we've shut down the borders until the end of July.
Mm, mm, mm.
So no one is allowed to fly in, no one is allowed to fly out.
Yeah. No, it's interesting to
Yeah.
watch how these governments are responding to the challenge, and
Yeah.
how, in particular, America,
Yeah.
with so many cases as we speak here in South Africa, we are in day
Yeah.
8, I think, of the lockdown.
Yeah.
In America,
Yeah.
they've recorded, I think, last I saw, CNN was reporting that they've got 321,000
Oh yeah.
cases,
Yes. Yes.
321,000
Yes.
people, but they
Yes.
still have
Yes. And most of
not,
them in New York.
yeah,
Do you know that? Like I was watching. Okay, as a journalist, right? I look into the darkest web,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So New York, I saw these videos of 2 trucks like carrying bodies out of, like they were throwing them like sardines. Like
Man.
they were just throwing bodies in the back of 2 trucks,
Mm.
and but they want to show that in the media
Yeah, of
because
course,
it will
of
make
course.
everything so.
Yeah, and just the entire crisis. But I wanted to us to go back to this idea, and the differences in the way people are being treated by law enforcement.
Yeah,
I was looking at a video
exactly.
earlier on Sky, and it was showing this policeman in
Yeah,
London, some neighborhood in London, at a public park,
yeah.
and they had
Yeah.
people, out, because I think the weather was nice today, and the United Kingdom
Oh,
being what it is,
yeah,
people went
it's
out.
nice. Also, today it just went cold for no reason. I don't
Yeah,
even know why.
yeah, it was weather, man. So people went out, and people were sunbathing, and this guy had taken his 92-year-old mother out for a stroll and stuff like that. But you
Oh,
had the
okay.
police on a megaphone just telling people,
Uh-huh.
nicely, unless you're exercising, you have no business being in the park. So people are still allowed to exercise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here, all of that's been, you can't even walk your dog, it's a crime. And here, they're not giving out fines, because there I saw the police were issuing out
Yeah.
fines
Yeah.
for people that's just loitering for no good reason. But
Okay.
here, you have this violence, that we've seen in
Yeah.
South Africa right now. I think COVID-19 has
Mm.
taken 9 lives, just 9 lives,
Mhm.
since the lockdown,
Yeah.
which was
Mm.
declared, a week ago. But then since the 5th of March, I think, when we recorded our first, when they announced, I think, the
Mhm.
first case, or the first couple of cases, the 5th of March. So
Yeah.
nine
Yeah.
people have
True.
died
True.
from
True.
COVID 19.
Yeah. True.
But
Yeah.
8 people have died at the hands of the police.
I know. You see,
So you've got
this is where I'm.
eight
This is
people
where I'm
that have been
because
killed by
that's the same
people.
thing that happened in Kenya.
Yeah.
That's the same thing that happened in Kenya and same thing that happened in India,
Uh,
because the police now have become like this authority and they're beating people to death, you
yeah.
know?
Uh. So you've got these people that are
Yeah.
sent out to protect the people from this disease, but they're causing
Yeah.
more casualties than the disease.
Exactly.
But this is in South
Exactly.
Africa. In
So
Zimbabwe, as far as people's livelihood, I think they're implementing
Zimbabwe, South Africa,
uh,
and 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 India.
Yeah.
India is now one of the worst. Like India and Pakistan, they are now one of the worst
Yeah.
because they are basically using the the whole idea to shut down the people.
But
You remember
but here's the
what
thing.
you have to remember one thing, that this is the greatest chance for dictatorships
Yeah.
because now they can shut down protests.
Yes. And yeah, you know,
You see what?
they've been a great
Yeah,
opportunity.
they
Parliaments
can
are going to be
control
folding in terms of issuing out, new executive powers
the
to this.
issuing out bills and executive powers. Yeah,
Mm.
no, but actually, no. That's not even true.
Yeah.
They will stop. They will stop supplying the bills. They will stop the bills, but they will actually apply executive powers.
Yeah.
You see, because this is now a curfew. This is basically curfews on
Martial
people.
law. Mm.
So in martial law, yeah. So you cannot go in the street. You cannot go anywhere. That's why they supplied with so much force and hatred. And you see, like, okay, let's say for instance, do you think an MDC protest can ever happen? Of
No,
course
no,
not.
yeah, yeah,
Do you think that any kind of women's rights organization can start a protest? Of course not.
yeah,
And they know this, and they love it. Oh, they love it.
yeah,
They like they've just like they've figured it out. You see what I mean?
yeah,
They figured it out.
yeah,
It's like this is the gold that they needed. They needed that gold.
yeah,
But on top of that gold, because they've been promised money, like 475,000 was promised, right? And then the United Nations is also giving, like, I think it must be over $1 million or something like that.
okay.
So
This is
how
in
people
this is in
are gonna
Zimbabwe.
be owning. This is for Zimbabwe and
Okay.
every other 14th country that is fighting. The first one, the 475,000, was given by USA.
Yeah.
So obviously, somebody is going to be touching that money. It's
Yeah.
not going anywhere.
Yeah.
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 And the weirdest irony of all of this was that the Minister of Health just bought some cars for their people. These are the latest Land Rover SUVs. Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
each one of them costs 400,000.
Yeah.
We have 15 ventilators for the rest of the country, but each one of those cars can buy 80
Yeah.
ventilators.
Yeah. It's sad, man. The good news though is that I think today an announcement was made that Strive Masiyiwa and his wife, through their foundation, have donated, to the whole fight, to the hospitals there, 46 ventilators from their organization.
Yes. Well, Strive has always been different. You know that.
Yeah.
Strive
But I
has
mean,
always
also
been
sad
different.
thing is that in that
the
same
government
breath,
can't do it for their people.
yeah. In the same breath, though, you've got a situation where I think in the whole country, a country of, I don't know, say, give or take 15 million people.
11 to 14 million people.
Yeah. So those statistics and those numbers, it's a question
But
of,
if
do we
like,
count the
listen,
people
if
outside
it's
or the
just
people
one car,
inside?
if it's just one car, if it takes one car,
Yeah.
all right, one car that they just bought in the Ministry of Health. If it takes one car to get 80 ventilators,
Yeah.
where are our priorities?
Yeah. This is the
Where
thing.
is
But
our
also,
priority?
with the situation that's there now, the first death that was recorded in the country, Zororo
It was
Makamba,
Mocambo.
he died
Mocambo.
in Wilkins, and that hospital was
No,
barely ready.
do you know what happened? Do you know what happened with Mocambo? Okay, there's a whole thing that's really pissing me off.
Yeah.
I think that he was neglected
Yeah.
by the system because they said, oh, pay us 120,000 US.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
120,000 US for you to get treated. And then they're like, if you buy the ventilator, then you're gonna have to donate it after that.
Okay.
I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So they wanted him
To
to,
pay
they
for,
wanted the
to
family
fund his
to
own.
pay 100 to fund his own health,
Yeah.
and also after that to donate the ventilator to the place.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's
bum
it's it's
clap.
it's it's a sad situation because, well, as
Yeah,
you
yeah,
you you have it, Zimbabwe being as polarized as it is, you've got people in
yeah.
Bulawayo. Some doctor, is on record as saying that if a person is found to have COVID-19 in Bulawayo, they're gonna have to be transported to Harare. I mean, it's something that
Please,
that goes against all
it's crazy.
reason. The idea is to
Yeah, it goes
quarantine
against all
the
reason.
person,
You know,
and not to be moving people across, right across the country, driving the person 6 hours away from where they and how many ambulances do you need to be able to actually put
how
that
many
thing in
ambulances
place?
do you need?
But
Yeah, you see what I mean?
because Thorngrove
So
Hospital
it's
is
like
not
because
ready.
at the end of the day, no, Stone Groove has never been ready. Even when we used to have like just a simple toe infection, you
Yeah,
remember that?
yeah, yeah,
You see what I mean?
yeah,
Stone Groove has never been ready. So when we're talking about like coronavirus at the scale that it is predicted to be in,
mm,
we don't need if these kind of hospitals right now.
yeah.
We had a huge chance. We had a huge chance with the Joshua Mkabugonkomo.
Egusileni
You
Center.
know what I mean? Agusilian. Yeah, we
Well,
had a huge chance. But what did we do? Nope.
it's open.
It was another regional thing.
Hold on. The good news, because of COVID-19, they opened that hospital today.
Oh, they opened it today.
So it's sad. It's actually quite pathetic.
Oh my
I
god.
really really wanted
Oh.
to explore this idea,
They
man.
they actually they actually opened it today.
Yeah, it's been opened. It took a disease, a worldwide pandemic, for them to consider opening a hospital that's been lying, and going to ruins for the past, that I think 20 years, if I'm not mistaken, because when was the hospital built?
The hospital was actually built in when I was still going out with what's her name, Nonhlanhla Nxumalo. That's
So
like way
that's a
back in
long,
the
long time ago. So yeah,
that's way over before, like that was in 2000.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, we correct to say that it's been 20 years and they had never kitted the place out. The last time I passed by there, the grass was overgrown, and it's just a sad
Yeah.
thing to look at. But well, thank God for COVID-19. The people now have a hospital. So, but I really wanted to explore this idea, Mbonisi. Uh,
Yes, okay, okay.
this thing where, looking at the way the law enforcement has been treating people, and I was trying to draw parallels and just to show the
That's what I
differences.
was, yeah, because that's how they are taught. Okay,
Yes, and
this is what they've
isn't it
been
a
taught
thing?
to actually, yeah.
Don't you see it as a
They
uh,
no, it's mostly connected to political. It's nothing like personal. It's political.
but also, don't you see it as
You see,
something that
because
is that is where there has not been any reform in the way people are trained, and in the way the masses are perceived, because people are being treated the same way they were treated pre-independence, in terms of, people's
let,
relationship
let, let,
with
let, let
law
me tell you. Let me
enforcement
tell you
has
a
not
very big.
changed.
let me tell you a very great example. Okay,
Yeah.
on the day that our president said like, oh, we are going to limit the people to just 100.
Yes.
We're going to limit everybody to just 100. And then the next day he went and addressed a 1,000 strong
Yeah.
rally. You see
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of, it's a matter of perception. You see what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just a matter of perception. It's a matter of rule. It's a matter of who is stronger than who.
Yeah.
So you can't completely say we're going to, we're going to make sure that coronavirus is handled. No,
Yeah.
not with the videos we've been seeing of the policemen beating up people and putting them like sardines.
Yeah.
Like, how does COVID spread? You have to maintain 6 feet difference,
Yeah.
and in the middle of a cough, it takes 10 feet to die.
Yeah.
So if you're taking people and you're picking them like sardines, what do you think is going to happen? You're
Mm.
actually making sure that the disease is getting spread.
Yeah.
You're making sure the virus is getting spread. So
Yeah.
it's nothing except political.
Yeah.
We have to allow ourselves to wake up to the reality that African countries, African dictators, they are going to use this and milk it out of the political side.
Yeah.
Because recently, they showed that. They
Yeah.
showed that.
Yeah. No, because my theory on this is also it's actually got to do with the way I think a perception of ourselves.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
as I was saying,
No,
earlier,
no,
you've got
no. Can I stop you from there?
yeah,
It's not a perception of ourselves, because our perception of ourselves, when it started, we were like, oh, we're not getting it because we are in a heat-resistant place.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's not about ourselves. It's about our political leaders.
He- he-
I'm not going to
he-
make no apologies
Hear
about
me
that.
out. Hear me out.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not
Yeah, I
excusing.
understand you and where you're coming from.
No,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is, isn't it something to do? Because I'm just looking at the heavy-handedness of
Okay, the heavy-handed.
the police in general
Yeah, but
when it
hey,
comes to
they
dealing
just got
with the
paid.
people.
Like, I will tell you the money they got paid. Like, they really, because they even got given like the latest gear. Have you seen the gear
Mm,
that Zimbabwean police were given?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
It was out of this world. Oh,
yeah.
I've
So
never seen this
we've got
European
people
stuff.
coming out looking like RoboCop, and the idea is
Like,
just to talk people.
who paid them? Who
Uh,
paid them? You see
yeah,
what I mean?
uh,
So
uh,
that's what you gotta think. Like, who paid them? Who was like, we're gonna pay you to beat up your own citizens, and here's enough money for you. Come on, man.
yeah,
And we're not stupid.
mm,
We're not stupid.
yeah,
Never been stupid, and never gonna be stupid. See what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
yeah. So,
You know what I mean? Yeah, even because that guy I got a thing against the government. Nah.
mm,
It's because to make sure that during this coronavirus period is not politicized.
yeah,
That our people are given the right information,
yeah,
and that our people are also taken to the right designations,
yeah,
and then our people know exactly what social distancing means,
yeah,
and that our people can actually like walk around and and not be beaten up by police, so that they can because it's easy. Let me tell you, it's easy to social distance as a vendor.
Yeah.
All you have to do, because right now in Canada, what I've observed is that they put an extra thing in front of the counter.
Yeah.
And then you put your money over, and then the person is wearing gloves.
Yeah.
You see?
Yes.
So the same thing can be done also for vendors in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And South Africa or whatever.
I saw
what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you do is just create a space around you and wear gloves, and then have that money like being given over with gloves involved.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So they're still making money. Okay?
Yeah.
They're still making money. But the only thing you need to do is that, like, instead of having this money that they were like, oh, okay, we're gonna we're gonna have 80 billion rands and whatever. No, create spaces, all right?
Yeah.
Where each and every person that is a vendor, right?
Yeah.
You can create a space for them for 6 feet, and then they can make their money, and the country makes its money, and you don't have to beat them up, and you don't have to take their fucking. Come on, man.
Yeah, and people are able to actually earn a living. I mean, I saw pictures of India with on the flip side, the good things that I'm seeing coming out of India. I saw pictures of the way they've handled this thing, because so many people and so many of these countries that are still coming up, the economies are a mix of what is the formal economy, but a big portion of these economies are informal.
Same with Zimbabwe.
Yes. So these measures, you cannot apply a lockdown with the same rules that Canada has, because first of all, they've got systems, they've got a taxation system. They're able, even when it comes to saying they're going to give people rebates to help them with their rentals and so forth. There's actually a system, because a good portion of the society is banked. A good portion of the society participates in the economy, and they are on the grid, so to speak. But you have with a lot of these countries that have informal economies, where you take that away. Actually, you've taken away the economy itself, which is the case in Zimbabwe. But in India,
taken away an economy. No, you have not taken away an economy. You've killed people.
Yeah. That's essentially, because that's it.
How else are they going to put food in the bellies of the children?
Yeah. So what I saw India doing,
when you're saying social distance from a child that's crying because they're hungry, how are you going to social distance from a child that's crying because they're hungry?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How in the world is it possible in our own humanity to social distance from a child that's crying because they're hungry?
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
So what I saw being done in India is that they haven't shut down the markets, the informal markets. They haven't shut them down. But you've got police present. You've got demarcations. They've drawn, it's a particular market that I saw, and I hope that it's being applied across the country, and that other countries will follow.
You've not seen the Indian police.
No, I have. I have. I have. But I'm saying it's the same thing. It's like here in South Africa, it's like everywhere. So because this is a situation, as we've said, it's unprecedented.
I I saw this other guy the other day, like a soldier from from uh from South Africa.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, so you think our president is wrong? You think our president is wrong?" And he beat up this guy,
Yeah.
and he slammed his beer to the ground. I'm sure that guy must have been feeling like, "Oh my beer is gone."
Yeah.
And and then and then he continued to kick him. He's like, "You think?" And they were all on mask. They were wearing masks.
Yeah.
The soldiers. And they're like, "You think our president is wrong? You
Yeah.
think our president is wrong? You think Ramaphosa is wrong?"
Yeah.
And then they continued to beat them up. It was so sad, man.
Yeah.
It was so sad.
Yeah, man. Well, anyway, like I was saying that there's what Zimbabwe could do is what I've seen being implemented at this particular market, where the government has taken the steps. The
What's
people have drawn lines on the ground. People are
tell
queuing,
you what I'm
but they're distancing.
Yeah, but
And
let me tell you what I'm proud of Zimbabwe for right now.
yeah,
Right now,
yeah,
Zimbabwe has not brought out the army. They only brought out the police.
yes.
So
Oh
that
well, I mean, if the
is
army
an
comes
amazing
out, we know
thing
what that's
because
gonna
if
be
they
like.
brought out we know what they were, you know.
Mm,
So I'm proud. Like I hate to say this, I'm proud of Mnangagwa for doing that
yeah,
because if the soldiers leave the camps, you know what's gonna happen.
yeah, yeah,
You just know,
yeah.
you just know.
Okay. Yeah, man, it's hectic. But let's talk about what you are thinking are the effects of what you've observed in yourself and in the people around you from a
The
mental
thing is,
health
okay,
perspective.
yeah. I've a grandma who just turned 86, right?
Yes.
So I was happy and sending like, "Oh, I'm glad you're alive."
Mm.
But now, because I know that we grew up in that space, okay, where there's like 11 people in a three compound room,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, "Oh, what's that's gonna mean? What is that gonna mean for my grandma? You know,
Yeah.
because she's the most vulnerable. Her immunity is not, you know."
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I hope that if I wake up next day, I do not hear a certain message saying, "Oh, grandma died of COVID."
Yeah.
And then also my mother too.
Yeah.
She's 61.
Yeah.
So I'm like also worried now because I haven't seen them since 2011, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I'm like, you better stay, you better stay alive.
Yeah.
So for me, like when I'm walking through these Canadian streets,
Yeah.
I get that like I'm mentally like some days I'm like, oh my God, like I can't do it because I have to stay in my room. And then I'm like, okay, am I gonna hear some news from home
Yeah.
that's going to totally change my life? And I don't, I'm not trying to wait for that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that will totally like that will make me go crazy because I haven't seen these people for 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. No,
yeah,
because I can imagine
so
it's how tough it must be being out there.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
but and we all dealing with some measure of that. Although one can never really minimize the personal impact and how it feels personally, because
exactly,
you've
yeah,
got people. I spoke to an
yeah,
aunt of mine who's in the UK, and she's in her 60s as well, but she's talking about how she's
yeah,
struggling because she hasn't been able to see her grandkids for the past two
yeah.
weeks
And
but
that's
they live in the same
mm,
neighborhood. they live in the
But
same
they can't see
neighborhood,
each
but they
other.
can't see
You
each
see what I
other.
mean?
So
They can't see each other.
I can feel, how weightier actually your case is.
It's
If
creating like it's creating like what even like our city was saying.
mm,
Our city was like the mayor was like, hey, we know that this issue is going to create some whole mental health issues,
yeah,
and I can see it, I can already see it in my friends, so that's why I'm like, hey, you know
yeah,
if you got music to share, if you got something to say, just say it to me,
yeah,
and I'll respond to it, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because this is a whole huge mental crisis waiting to happen,
yeah.
you know
And I think,
especially in
things like this, like what we're doing here, recording this podcast and reaching out and, coming out of yourself for a bit to help
you
other
see what I
people.
mean.
I think those are all things that can be used as coping
Yeah,
measures.
because like I'll tell you for a fact, like because for me during this lockdown,
Yeah,
what happened was I also got a friend of mine who got shot in the head,
yeah. Sorry about that,
and
man.
so at the same time I'm trying to mourn my friend,
Mm,
and at the same time trying to social distance,
yeah,
so it's kind of like crazy because now, okay, I'm social distancing
yeah,
and I'm also thinking of my friend who just got shot.
yeah.
And then I'm also thinking of people back home
Mm,
who are now very, very social. You can't social distance in the ghetto. We grew up in the ghetto.
yeah, yeah.
It's impossible.
Mm,
It's completely impossible.
yeah,
So, I'm thinking of that as well, and then I'm like thinking of my grandma, and I'm like, oh, my grandma is the most immune deficient person in the world because she's 86.
yeah, yeah.
So anybody that comes around it. So I was telling my son, I was like, hey, son,
Mm,
don't get too grand,
yeah,
okay?
yeah,
For my sake, don't get too close to grand.
yeah.
And it was
Yeah,
like,
because
no, no, I
kids
won't.
will get out, they'll go, they'll play, they'll, and then come back in the house
And
with
then they
stuff.
don't come back, and yeah. So I told him, I was like, listen, every time you come from outside,
Mm.
just
Wash
wash
your
your
hands.
hands,
Wash your hands.
and don't approach grain.
Yeah,
I was like, don't approach grain,
yeah,
okay?
yeah,
Because she's most vulnerable. So
yeah,
it's I think it's just a very incredibly difficult time
yeah,
to process things,
yeah,
and whether we like it or not, it's a very dystopian world that we have entered into.
oh,
And but the thing is, at the end of the day, we are also great people. This can actually bring out the greatest positivity out of us.
true,
We
true.
can be the best positive people that we can ever be. We can be there for our neighbors. We can be there for everybody that needs us, and we can provide food when we need to provide food, because so many people, like especially seniors,
Yeah,
are not going to have money to go out and buy food.
yeah,
So you're gonna have to give them food,
yeah,
and put it by the door, and be like, hey, I just brought you food by the
yeah,
door.
man.
You see, that's why we cook food, cook food, put it on seniors' houses, because they have mobility issues, right? So
Yes,
cook food, put it in front of their houses, and then we walk away, and then they open the door, and they're like, somebody cook me food,
yeah,
you know
man.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man. And
So
yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting to see how this whole thing pans out. But yeah, 3 weeks ago, I think it's 3 weeks ago, actually just
Yeah, we
after the
didn't
first.
have any. Yeah, we didn't even have any case.
Yeah, that's Zimbabwe, but South Africa, having been, having announced the first couple of cases, the German government came up and said that they were going to give $2.5 million, and
And
to
then the
to sort of
cases
get
started
testing
spiking.
kits. But what was interesting is
Yeah.
that the German ambassadors to South Africa announced this on Twitter, and what was interesting and quite hilarious, but at the
People
same
were like,
time
"We don't need that."
very sad.
Yeah.
People were saying,
Yeah.
please, man, don't
Please don't. Yeah,
just
I saw that. I saw that.
don't give them money,
I
please.
actually saw that. Like, you don't give them money
Send
because
the kids, don't give them
we know
money.
who they are.
Yeah,
Like, don't give them money because we all know how corrupt our governments are.
yeah,
So
man.
so it'll be the next minister. It'll be the next minister that has his own 400,000 rands, and
Yeah,
we know that. We
yeah,
know that.
yeah.
We know that it's not lost to us.
Mm,
So and like I say, like we try to use this time like to economically integrate,
yeah.
and the African Union had already sworn in the first ever Secretary General
Mm,
of a new. It's called the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement.
yeah,
You know, but now that we can't trade, then what happens?
yeah, yeah,
You see what I mean?
yeah,
And they were like, "Oh, we're gonna test the first coronavirus vaccines in Congo." Like, why? Why in the Congo?
yeah. Yeah, but we
Why
all
in the
know,
Congo? Come on.
in the chain that there's certain of us that are the most, like the weakest. And we know that with the Ebola virus and all of that, the epicenter for a lot of these things has been the
Yeah,
Congo.
yeah. But let me tell you, this is why I hate it, because these two French guys,
Doctors, the
right?
guys that came up, yeah.
French doctors. Yeah, yeah. They were like, we're gonna test them like we used to do with prostitutes.
Yes.
I'm like, what
Yeah,
the
sort of
fuck?
divulging to say that there's these things that have been
To
done
say
all
that
along. But
exactly.
and also, so I think what's going to make this whole thing complicated, especially in terms of how to deal with it in the world, no doubt, but also in particular in Africa, is our relationship
Because what
with
exactly
with the
the
West,
the
our relationship,
exactly.
and
Because
yeah,
this is what I was talking to a friend of mine. I was talking to a friend of mine today. Okay, we were both like, okay, so wouldn't it make sense that you would actually introduce the vaccine in Italy?
this is what would make sense. Yeah.
Would it make sense? Yeah, you see, but no, we
So
gotta
just
introduce
to
it in
play the
Africa.
devil's advocate, although I think that as far as a lot of people here on the
There's actually
continent,
there's actually a hashtag going around about like us being treated
guinea
as lab
pigs.
rats,
Yeah,
guinea pigs, and lab rats. Yeah,
yeah. But I'm saying to play
and I was
the
like,
devil's advocate, because I think as far as everyone here on the continent is concerned, it's certified that this is the devil's ploy, quote unquote. But it's if we're just going to be pragmatic about it, assuming that this is what
yeah,
it is said to be, it's definitely a virus, It's definitely, something that is highly infectious. Africa, with healthcare systems being what they are, transportation systems being what they are, just in terms of just general preparedness to deal with something of that nature. The results here, judging from what's happening in countries that are supposed to be better prepared, the results here would be catastrophic. First angle being that it genuinely is a virus. It's highly infectious. It is passed from person to person in terms of just simple contacts, the same way a flu is passed. So if it definitely is that, then it is practical. Let's say a vaccine was there. It is practical that you go to the end
And
of
who would have the vaccine?
But no, never mind
You?
all that. Let's shelve that. Let's
No,
speak in hypotheticals
no.
first.
I'm just talking about birds with bills.
Yeah, man. Let's discuss hypotheticals first. Okay. So
Okay.
it wouldn't it make sense to say let's go to the end of the line and fight this thing,
Okay.
like you fight a fire. You go to where it's going, and you make the ground there wet. While you are fighting and putting it out where it's actually burning at the same time, so that you're not running after it while it's burning things. You go to where it's headed.
Oh, that's amazing, actually. That's amazing, actually.
And you put out, and you make sure that
that's a very great way to look at it.
So if we're gonna be pragmatic and deal with this, the way it's been presented and the way it appears to be, going with the mainstream narrative, which is to say that it's a virus, wouldn't it be then the pragmatic and practical thing to do to come to Africa, where they're expecting that the thing is on its way to Africa?
Not to provide a vaccine, to find out exactly why it's not spreading as much. Not to provide a vaccine.
But
you see,
there's a whole school of thought also that says the reason why the numbers are not really up is because there's no testing. So that no one actually knows where the numbers are.
That's a bullshit way to look at it.
No, I mean, because but how can you say that sitting in Canada and not being on the ground in Africa? And how can I say that sitting in my house and not actually being out there to see what's actually happening? You know what I'm saying? No one knows what is going on.
Exactly.
No one knows what is going on. So I'm just saying we're still discussing this thing hypothetically, okay? Because fact is no one knows what the truth is. So it would make sense to say, you know what, if we come up with a vaccine and on our way to developing and coming up with, to say like this is the vaccine, it would make sense to prepare the populations that have not been as exposed, to prepare them so that by the time the virus gets there, these people's immune systems are ready for it. And if we go by that reasoning, our feelings and our mistrust aside, it's actually a logical way to actually look at it. It's perfectly logical to think like that.
I see. No, you're actually speaking truth. Okay, I see it.
But on the flip side, I think we can't be forgiven because we've got trust issues when it comes to
we got trust. You remember what happened with Ebola
and the Tuskegee experiments in America
and the syphilis experiments. You have to remember that.
So with that sort of history and with all sorts of medical histories, what was done by that Dutch emperor dude in Namibia.
No, no,
and the
oh,
Congo.
no, no. Yeah, I remember the one in Namibia, but I also remember the one in Congo.
Yeah.
Remember the King Leopold, Leopold,
Yes. Yeah.
and
So
he
you
killed
know,
12
with
million.
that sort of history, and even with the history of apartheid, biological
Yeah,
weapons being used against black people in this country,
against
and
black
all
people.
these things that all these theories that are flying about, with population control
Yeah,
and so forth. So I think we can be forgiven for having trust issues.
we can be forgiven for having trust issues because we've been fucked up for a long time. Sorry for the
But
F word.
at the end of the day, we do have a situation uh, that has no doubt affected us in a great way. So I'm hearing a
Of
lot
course.
of people coming up with all sorts of theories about what this could be and what. I haven't heard any
Yeah.
solutions, any alternative solutions
No,
from
what
anyone.
I'm saying, okay. Let me tell you what I'm saying as a solution.
Yeah.
You know, like solution is community.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah, solution is community. If for me to give a bag of my a bag of my food to my neighbor, that's already a solution there.
Yeah.
We don't have to necessarily be medical people. We just have to, like, if I can give a bag of my food to my neighbor, I'm good. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all that's missing. Now, what's gonna happen for us to reach positivity levels is just be there for our neighbors, and especially, like, for instance, like 22 um 22 people died in Windsor,
Mm.
in Ontario. No, not Windsor,
Yeah.
Ontario. At one senior's home. So I'm like, how could 22 people die at one senior's home?
Yeah. Mm.
And then the three people that we lost in Windsor,
Mm.
one of them was a policeman.
Yeah.
He
Mm.
was just like responding to a day's work.
Yeah, doing his
And
job,
then
serving the community.
he was just doing his job, serving his community, and he just died like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes we just gotta be all about community. That's all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no, I think the answer really is, and if there's an opportunity for mankind to get back to the basics and what it means to be human, this is that time.
what it means to be human is this is that time. That's all we need.
Yeah.
If you can remember to be human at this point in time, then you're good.
And
You're good.
for us here in Africa, for whom community and being communal by nature, this is
I
something
was
that's
telling,
going to be easy for us.
I was actually telling Simba.
Yeah.
I was telling somebody recently. I was like, how do you tell people whose only resource is just being
Is
there
each
for each
other.
other, and also while other people are holding toilet paper and everything,
Yeah.
we only hold love.
Mm.
We only hold love for each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all we got.
Yeah.
That's all we share with each other. We only got love for each other. So that's all we gotta hold. While other people are holding toilet paper and all of the other stuff,
Yeah.
we are holding love.
Yeah.
We are
That's it, man.
holding love.
That's it. That's it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on that positive note, to a largely uh, bleak discussion, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
man.
have to let you go. I think
Yeah,
we're just about to hit the one
let's
hour
try it
mark with this
again.
discussion. We're gonna try it again
Yes,
soon.
yeah. And let's do it again soon. And like at the end of the day, let's say this to our people: like, stay safe, Please wash your hands as often as you can.
Yeah.
Take care of your neighbors, and don't be as scared as you should be. That does not mean that you should be calm,
Yeah.
because it's a fearful time, but you stay safe and you stay as positive as you can be, and life is always beautiful at the end of the day.
Wonderful. All right. With those words,
Yeah.
we're going to come to the end of this session. Thanks a lot, Mbonisi
Yeah.
Zikhali, sitting in Windsor, Canada.
Yeah.
Great to have you. Thanks, my man.
Yeah, thank you, my brother, man. One love,
One love.
always.
Cheers.